Sorry, I didn't see that.
That's okay. I'm gonna stop in and see.
Yeah, we did. We got it.
All right, very good.
What is the So all right, just so you're aware. All right. Well, I don't either, but I am. But after the discussion, I thought, oh, I'm probably doing okay. And I think, and that's like, that was a lot of years. We're a pretty good team. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be fine, but maybe not as much. Yeah, I got you on speed dial. I should be closer. That's pretty far away, huh? I could even sit in one of those nice. I mean, you guys are like, oh, in there, you can't read your name tag. Try that. Maybe I'll try that. Let's see what this does. Well, that's probably about as close as I can get. Maybe I'll just sit in a chair. Okay.
Oh, Joe.
Kind of right.
Yeah. Oh, good. Hey. Hey. Are you pulling my leg? I don't believe it. I know we're all. I agree. Oh, good. Well, remember, he's You know, Kelly got poisoned in January, but just passed
It's in the ground. It's in the ground. It's fucking low. It will be though. It will be. It just, I know, it's a hard time. Yeah. Right? All the time. I know.
Pledge of Allegiance, and we've asked Greg Woodward to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thanks so much, Greg. For anyone that doesn't know Greg, you see a fast car or a giant Jeep driving by, that's Greg. He lives over on River Road in the old Bridge home, or the Saunders home. For any of you that know those families, that's where Greg lives. So thanks so much for being here, Greg. We look forward to getting to know some new faces tonight. What's that? And Mary. Yes, thank you. Greg and Mary, thank you. Just really quick, I'll introduce myself. I'm Sam Altamont. I'm born and raised here in Oakley. I love this town. I've been serving on the rodeo committee for about 11 years now. And the reason why we're here tonight is I was in Zions Bank just 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was talking to Christy Bear, the manager at Zions Bank. She lives here in Oakley. And we were talking about this election and the fact that we didn't know a lot of the candidates. And I said, sounds like a job for the Oakley Election Commission. And she said, what is that? And I said, it was just formed. It's you and me. And we're going to hold this event. But the caveat is that it would be immediately dissolved after tonight. So if you have a problem with anything that was done or said tonight, I don't know who to tell you to talk to, because we're officially resigning from this tonight. When Christy and I first talked, we talked about getting a moderator for tonight's event, and there was only one man that came to mind. Doug Evans is the main reason is Doug Evans is the reigning Grand Marshal of Oakley's 2021 Oakley Rodeo Celebration. So if any of you get asked to be the Grand Marshal in coming years, know that you get to do things like this for the whole year, the whole year. We need help with the Queen contest next spring, so anyway. So thank you. Just on a side note, Doug has been the mayor of Oakley. He's been very involved in this town. And he was actually involved in the acquisition of the property that we're standing on right now. And so big thanks to Doug. I will turn the microphone over to him and he'll talk to us a little bit and we'll get right underway.
Thanks, Sam. Okay, we're grateful for everyone's attendance. I'm excited that so many registered to run public office this upcoming election. I just wanted to begin with, so we think about our vast government structures from the nation on down. No form of government stands as close to its citizenry and touches daily our quality of life as the city. Cities directly affect our health, safety, neighborhood, zoning and development, transportation, recreation, and especially critical and healthy infrastructure. In fact, Oakley was incorporated in 1933 to enable funding and constructing a needed community water system. Small cities and towns also enjoy the benefit of being nonpartisan. When you run for office, go into this knowing you are willing to roll up your sleeves and work hard to volunteer much of your time and talent alongside a team of other elected officials and professional staff. Politics could only cloud such efforts. Remember, toilets do not care if they flush left or right. They just need to be reliable. And while the work you do often seems thankless, it is rewarding for us all to see and enjoy the fruits of such toil. Lasting legacies are now a reality by many current and past elected leaders and staff. In no place is this arduous volunteerism as evident as it is in our beautiful town of Oakley. And that's what Oakley is built on, is this volunteer ethic. A little bit about the structure of Oakley. Oakley is governed by a 5-member legislative body, which is the city council. The city executive is the mayor. The mayor conducts all council meetings, but does not vote, except to break a tie. The city administration and staff work for and are directed by the mayor, generally following policies set by the council. However, the buck always stops with the mayor, which is why the mayor usually acts as the spokesman for the community. Each elected position serves for 4 years, with half the officials elected every 2 years in elections that are always in odd years. In the upcoming election of November 2nd, there are 3 open positions. One is the office of mayor with 2 candidates running, namely Joe Frazier and Zane, who currently sits on the city council, and Zane Wolstenboom, who is presently the chair of the city planning commission. The current mayor, Wade Wolstenboom, chose not to re-up, and I thought now would be a good time to give Wade, I don't know if he's here, a round of applause and thanks for the many years of government. I know how hard he's worked. There is also 2 seats open on the city council. 7 initially registered for this position, but were narrowed down to the final 4 today, due to the outcome of the previous primary election. Therefore, you will simply vote for 2 out of the 4 candidates listed on the ballot. Those running include the 2 incumbents, Steve Willman and Kelly Kemper, and 2 new candidates, Marissa Gilman and Clayton Page. I just want to go over initially the rules from tonight's event. First and foremost, as I mentioned, the event is nonpartisan. The event will not be a debate, but a courteous exchange of ideas and philosophy to best understand and learn from each candidate and what sets them apart. Candidates will be given 2 minutes each for an introduction about themselves. They will then each take turns answering the same question I initially presented to the group as a whole. There are a total of 4 questions approved by the committee. All pre-approved questions have been provided to all candidates before this event. All candidates will be cut off at 2 minutes and provided with a 15-second warning. And back in the back, you can see Christy holding up a yellow sign, which means you have 15 seconds left. And it goes red when you're cut off. Candidates will end with an opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement. We will draw from the hat for who speaks first, then increment to the speaker's left for each succeeding response. For each new question, we will draw again for first comment. After the closing statements, we will conclude, and then the public may mingle with various candidates to address any particular questions or concerns, and refreshments will be served. So, Sam's going to draw those first. This is the opening statement. 2 minutes. Steve, you go first, and then after you will be Clayton, and then we'll go to your left. Does that make sense? And then we'll draw another name for the next one. Draw.
A little bit about myself. Oh, I gotta get this close, I guess. I heard these a little close. I've been on the city council for 5 years. Appointed the very first year. I've been on for the last 4. My background comes from, well, let's start with I've lived in Oakley for 20 years now. Absolutely love this town. I've lived in some other places, but I don't know that there's a better town to be part of. Some of you that may not know me, about 7 years ago, I lost a son to suicide. And this town stood behind me and my family more so than I could ever ask of any other town or any other people in the world. And so part of me running 4 years ago was I wanted to be able to give back to the citizens of Oakley that supported me in my time. And I was lucky enough stand up and support, I hope, what you guys envision, what you guys see. And I want to be able to continue to do that. And I appreciate, and I'm very honored to be up here with the candidates that are up here. I don't think you can go wrong. There's some great people up here. I've been in business for lumber business for 32 years now. I've been managing locations for 20. That's what's moved me around a little bit. So I've been managing businesses from millions of dollars down to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's me in a nutshell. I just got the flash sign. This is the worst part of the whole thing. It's in front of everybody. So at that, I'll end, and I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity.
I'm Clayton Page. I grew up in Oakley. My ancestors go back in this valley to my great-great-grandfathers on both sides. So this is a very, very special place to me. I'm following in the footsteps of the father and uncles and grandfathers who served either on the council or as mayor. I watched them through the years. Was a lot of emotion to this town, as well as many others who have given so much. I remember in the old arena going and helping my dad. Sorry. As we bolted on the seating for the bleachers, and everyone in town was there. And it seems that, may not be quite so much to that level that I can appreciate what they have to say about this city is built, this town is built on the devotion and unselfish sacrifice of so many people. I know this felt like this was the time that it was time for me to step up and give up myself and time and efforts to make this the kind of record.
Hi, my name is Joe Fraser, for those of you who don't know me. I wrote that on my note card to give you my name, so we're right on task here. I've been here my whole life. I went away for college for a few months at a time and always came back. The last 6 years I've been on the city council. 5 years before that I spent on the planning commission. Right now I'm currently working for Summit County as the county historian. I spent about 13 years with the county library system before that. So what I really want to get across is that I feel strongly about this town. I feel like I owe a lot to this town for various reasons. As Clayton alluded to, this town is built on volunteerism, and I feel like that's been a huge part of my life, and it's helped make me, if I say so myself, what I am today. And I think that's something that we need in today's community. More and more kids are getting caught up in things that are not, that are social media and those type of things, and we all know are problems. And I think it's a sense of community that's missing in a lot of those cases. And I think that's what I grew up with. And I think that's what was instilled in me through my family, through my neighbors, through all of the people in the town. And I think that's something that we really need to strive to bring back and to make a core part of who we are and what we are. And that's really the key part that I want to get across is I feel strongly about this town and I love this town and I'll work for it.
I'm Zane Olson. I also grew up in Oakley. I lived here and worked in the valley for South Central School District as the business administrator for 20 years. Raised our 6 children. My wife has been up with me now for 40 years. And I thank her for that. And I want to thank her for her support in my effort to be the next mayor in Oakley. I've spent a career as a business executive in the school system. South Summit School District, Logan School District. I currently work in our City School District. And have experience in budgeting, managing money and building buildings and overseeing facilities and managing people. I've spent over 20 years on the Oakley City Planning Commission. Have been involved in development of Maple Ridge, North Lake Farms, the Oakley School, Work Academy. I think. We, in my time, rewrote our zoning ordinance a couple of times, and most recently this past year. And I think I basically lived my life preparing for this time and look forward to the opportunity to serve the community locally in years to come. And I thank you all for being with us.
Hi, my name is Marissa Dillman. I live in Oakley with Chris and my 4 wonderful children. I originally moved to Oakley with my parents, Chris and Jerry Hansen, in 2000. 9 years ago, my husband Chris and I had the opportunity to move back, and we have been raising our kids here in Oakley. Raising our family, we came to realize that Oakley has 2 great characteristics, which is hard work and volunteering. Some of the opportunities of volunteering that my family has participated in has been building multi-use trails, volunteering at the Oakley Rodeo, and helping beautifying City Hall. I'm passionate about helping raise the town that's raised me. As the only woman and mother that's trying to become on City Council, I have recognized that I can offer a unique perspective, such as I know how it is to come to the park and play and know what is needed for our children. I know what is needed for our families, for what we're lacking. Having focused my attention the last 14 years on my family, my experience comes a little differently than other candidates. It comes from someone who understands the importance of the values that Oakley presents. Some of my experiences is a district leader for Pennies by the Inch, a South Summit Education GAVA chair member, a parent representative on the school safety board, and a kindergarten para. My experience as a woman and a mother may not be the traditional route or directly compatible with the Oakley City Council, but it does provide a unique perspective. I recognize that City Council people are for the city, and I hope to be your representative.
Raise your hand if you can hear me in the back. Next one, just to make sure that I want to thank you all for being here. And it's such a great sight to see you there. It gives me a good warm heart. I'm grateful to feel your spirit while we can chat. Also want to thank the election committee for putting this together. This is such a great opportunity for us to sit down and talk about issues in our community. Last February, I was not elected, but city council. So I wanted to know, and it's been a great opportunity. I've only lived in Oakley for 6 years, so I wasn't raised here. But I love I think the benefits that I bring to the table because of an outside point of view is maybe being able to look at things a little bit different. Through my career, gained education and experience that I think is really helpful and needed for our community today. For example, I have a master's degree in public administration, and that is the study of how government agencies work and how they be successful and efficient. And so I'm grateful that I have that knowledge. I have a master's in business administration, so I get the business side, which is supposed to work. I have 40 years experience in the public sector. most of that with wastewater treatment. I'm actually a certified operator. And so I have an understanding of how the waste treatment plant should be working and what we need to do to make sure that we're effective and that it's operating the best way that it can. I'm semi-retired, so I have time to be able to give to this opportunity, which I'm thrilled to do. But I have been so amazed at this city as I've had the opportunity to mingle with you. Everybody's talked about volunteerism and how wonderful things are. So I'm grateful to be here tonight, and thank you, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. And just a reminder, you gotta almost eat that microphone. Okay, so pull it up, get it close, or people aren't gonna be able to hear. So our first question begins with Kelly. Oh, you get two in a row. And these questions are kind of tough, but everyone will do good. Number one, what is your opinion regarding the course Oakley has taken with planning and zoning policy or actions? How do you feel about the newly adopted visions in the general plan? Or the new development code and related zoning maps? Also, do you have any concerns about affordable housing in the community?
No way I can do that in 2 minutes. I just want to thank the Planning and Zoning Commission for the master plan. If you haven't had an opportunity to do it, it is just such an amazing thing. As I was getting ready for this, I called Pat, who was the director of development at Summit County. I want to understand how the growth is going in the county and how it's affecting Oakley. And he said it's going crazy. People are building everywhere. But he made a compliment to the city, which I thought was fantastic. He said, of all the cities in the county, the one who is doing it right is Oakley. And that's a compliment to the current mayor, all those who served before him, the Planning and Zoning Commission, everybody who have given their time to make us be Oakley where we are doing it right. So I think we're right on track, and part of the course that we're on, if we just stay the course, we are doing the right things. The Planning and Zoning Commission has gone through the codes, where there wasn't any, they wrote, where it needed help, they added, and what we ended up with is a document that is professional, it's consistent, and it helps us to apply growth and development in our community the way we want it to be done, as well as enforcement. People aren't living up to the code that they're supposed to. And so they've really done a magnificent thing. I'm also, in spite of this, in favor of property rights. I think people should property rights will do what they need to with their own property within the master plan and have look how the zoning works and is set forth. As far as the general plan, it's the whole reason it was developed was to provide rural agricultural and small town character for us to keep that. And that's really what we all want. Thank you.
I would almost reiterate the point that Kelly made at the beginning. This was quite a task, and if you folks haven't had an opportunity to read through that, the Planning Commission has done an excellent job. And there was a lot of time and a lot of effort that was put into it. Some of the highlights or some of the things that I like is it does keep our town and our growth sustainable, if you will. It's putting infrastructure before homes. It's putting water before homes. And it's protecting the people that live here now. And yet it's still trying to keep the lifestyle. And I think that's going to be our biggest challenge going forward. Being in the building industry, I do understand that there is a lot of growth and it's coming. And I think I read that Oakley's going at 3.6%. That's not horrible, but it could get worse. And I think we to protect our open spaces and protect our farms and stuff that we do have here and to stay the way that we all love and grow to know Oakley, is going to be a challenge with the amount of people coming in. And I think what he's put in place here has been, the committee has put in place here has been exceptional. And I think it's been very thought out. Again, if you haven't had a chance to read it, you've got to spare, 30 or 40 hours if you want to read through 279 pages. It talks from everything from laterals to lights that are lighting that's going to be in Oakley and to keep things in perspective and keep things calm and keep our little lifestyle. So I do enjoy it. And real quick, I know I'm getting short on time, but the last question was about affordable housing. I think we almost have to have something along those lines. So I'm done, so I'll quit.
I read this question, it says we have concerns about affordable housing in the community. That is so relative at this point. It's almost a month's long. We got kids that want to live here and can't afford to stay. And I'm not sure that anybody sitting in this state has an answer to that. We happen to be so close to the Wasatch Front that it's just, it was an inevitability. This place became more and more expensive. I'm really concerned about making sure we keep our agricultural field and roots to this place. And I do think that I started reading that. I didn't realize anything as smart about how big that just that one section is. I started printing them out this week and public out that is more paper. But one of the things I did read the Oakley City mission statement. It says Oakley celebrates today and every day by promoting the mission of healthy people, healthy growth, and healthy growth. And I thought there's something missing. And I would propose, one of the first things I propose is a change to this. It says Oakley celebrates today and every day by promoting individual rights and freedoms, a mission of healthy people, healthy. I think above all, every single thing we do as a council, as mayors, as planning commissions ought to be done with individual rights and freedoms in mind every single time.
All right, so one of the hard things about this is not reiterating what's been said before. So I think, like has been said before, the general plan is very good. It's very thorough. It's very exhaustive, both in its breadth and in trying to read it. But that's what we need. We're a growing community. It's not a place anymore where we can just say, the bare minimum works, and we can expect everyone to give their best faith effort. Growth is here. All we can do is hope to manage it. And I think that's what the Planning Commission and Zane and Doug and the other planning commissioners, Stephanie as the planner, have set out to do. We have long planned to build from density in the center of our town outward. We've got it zoned that way now, and as a council, as mayor, I think we need to stick with that. Zoning changes should be very rarely done, and only in extreme circumstances. And that's because we spend a lot of time planning the way we're doing things. And that being said, I want to move on shortly to affordable housing. Like everyone else, affordable housing is a huge issue in not only the valley, but the state. My question is, what is affordable now? Are we building affordable housing for a teacher or for somebody that's making the 80% of the average income? Those are questions that are difficult to answer. But I think it's something we have to dive into because we all want to be able to afford to live here or want to be here.
What they all said. Needless to say, I'm pretty proud of the document we put together, the general plan and our development code. believe that there's, as Kelly pointed out, the county planner, I don't think there's another community in the state probably that has such a good document to work with to address the growth that will come, probably not tomorrow like we think it will come. If you look at the reality of the situation, a lot of the big development that has happened so far happened a while ago. North Bend Farm was the last big community development we really had. That happened 15 years ago or more. And we have a couple of people that own some big parcels, and how they decide to do something with those parcels. Probably going to status quo with 5-acre homes, homes built on 5-acre lots or things like that. Until that happens, we can just watch and wait for it to happen. In the meantime, we put together a tool in our belt to help us manage that when will come. I spent about 10 years on the Mountain Community Housing Trust Board, and have had the privilege of being involved in a lot of the affordable housing development that happen in Oakley City. You may not be aware, but the North Bench Farm subdivision has a lot of that stuff, and I believe that we need to be creative and innovative and thoughtful about how we deal with our affordable housing, and I'm passionate about that.
So part of having affordable housing is also reaching out to other communities and finding out what works and doesn't work. So I'm lucky enough to know a man named Jason Gilden, and he is on a board that I sit on also with my safety board. And he is part of the Park City Affordable Housing. And just knowing from people and reaching out and understanding what works and what doesn't work for other towns and communities, I think that is huge for us to not just have a mindset that what we're doing works. We need to look out and have an open mind and see other things. Having a good planning and zoning policy is key to grow for our future, because we need to be able to look out for our children, and my children are old enough to be out on their own. That's something a little different than these gentlemen up here. But I would love for my children to eventually live up here, but I understand that sometimes sacrifices have to be made, and that it is a privilege to live up here, and we don't want to have all these crazy subdivisions and small little lots. We want to preserve the mountainous and the properties and the hills and the beauty of our town. And I think that is very important for a lot of people who live up here. We want to live in a small town. That's passionate of me.
Thank you. Just to kind of help wake everybody up and keep us moving, I just wanted to we need to just take a moment and recognize all the first responders, the public safety, the health professionals, the service, and also those who serve in the armed forces and the military, those who are serving currently or in the past. Any of you who are part of that, please raise your hand. We want to recognize you. Thank you very much. Our second question will begin with Zane. Please address any ideas or concerns you may have regarding the city's infrastructure, such as water, sewer, roads, buildings, and recreational facilities like parks, trails, and open space. How do you feel about the related rates, fees, or taxes?
So I think that Oakley has facilities and parks that are the envy of every community in the valley, and we should be proud of that. These facilities are enjoyed by people everywhere. Any given weekend in the summer, the fields are full of people who come from Wasatch Front, and I think we have a lot to be proud of when it comes to our facilities. I support the fee schedule that we have in place. I know that the city, like last year, raised about $100,000 on fees from renting facilities, things like that. If I looked at that, though, I would probably change that schedule so that if I needed it for an hour, I could rent it for an hour. I don't have to rent it for all day. Thought a little bit about that. I am concerned about our aging infrastructure. I was a little kid when they put in the water and sewer lines up Main Street in town. They're over 50 years old. Not that I'm that old, but I will work together to put together a capital improvement plan. I think that's very important. I found that in my work. And you need to not only have a plan, but you need to have a plan for paying for those improvements. I think consistent maintenance over time saves taxpayers a lot of money going forward. So I would work real hard to do that. Aside from that, I think the city does great with its facilities, and we have a lot to be proud of.
So I feel like water is our main concern with our infrastructures. We need to focus and put a little time and effort in that. I think that is one of our big concerns, especially during our drought seasons. We need to do better to ensure that there's enough demand from our current residents. Adding a new pump, upgrading and improving our existing pumps will help reduce the strain by smart modifications and on the recreation facilities. So one of the things that I was thinking about was for our residents, when we have sports teams out here, my family doesn't like to come and play at the park because it's just kind of overcrowded. To give our residents opportunities to utilize that, maybe relieve the stress a little bit more often and having less recreation on the field. I'm really helping for our
I appreciate what these have said. Basically, they've addressed most of those issues. One of the things that I want to bring up is I've done a little bit of research and talking to some folks, and we have about 1,300 lots that we're able to build on in Oakley today. And 60% of those will be tied into our current wastewater treatment plant. There's no way we can sustain that kind of growth. Now, we're not growing a large amount. We're growing very slowly. In fact, since the 2010 census, we have only grown about 22%. So it's not a big deal, but it is coming, and it will be there. So I agree with what Zane says. We've got to have some sort of plan where we review these things and make sure that we're on the right track. Because our pipelines are so old, there should be a plan in place to review those, make sure that they're not being corroded, that things are progressing well there. As far as the tax rates and things go, I met with Amy Ragos, and she shared a lot of some historical background. She said we haven't addressed rates in over 20 years. And so I think it was time for us to do that. We had some pressures put on us by the state. They wanted us to develop a rate plan that would create conservation. There's previous structure. The more we used water, the less expensive the water was. And so it was the opposite of what we wanted to have happen. And so as a result of those things, we have done a new rate structure that does ask or invite for conservation. And I think that's really the best way that we need to do it. We've had to raise rates in sewer, as well as even facilities like this, and those costs are associated with just doing business. We haven't been able to do that before. Now it's time with these adjustments that we can keep up with the cost of doing business with our facilities. Thank you.
To echo kind of what they're saying, you know, I think it's important to know kind of where we've come from a little bit too. I know water's been a huge issue for everybody this year. We've been in a drought. And one of the toughest decisions I think we made on the city council this year was to put a moratorium on building. And that was to protect the people that live here now, and get ready and try and put something forward for people that are coming. But the most important was to protect the people we had here. Along with that is water is so important. We've been working on this for quite a while. I really wish it was something we could snap our fingers in half, but we're well on our way. For those of you that don't know, there is a well that's being Doug, it's supposed to start, correct me if I'm wrong, in November,
Push back February.
February now. So we were hoping to have water in spring. Looks like it's going to be pushed a little bit further, but along with that, I'm going to rush through some of this. I think our sewer plant is operating better than it has in the past. We've got some great operators running that thing right now. And I think that it's going to need an upgrade for sure, but I think right now it's running well. As far as the rates and our parks, I guess I'm a little bit, I guess maybe the wrong person to ask. I'm the one that put a lot of those rates together. And that was quite a challenge in here to make it so it works for everybody. And we still wanted to make it so that our residents didn't have to pay a full fee, but you know, part of what Oakley wants to do is be financially responsible, and that's part of it. We've got to be able to put some of those fees in place to help maintain some of the greatest parks in the area. We struggled with this 5 years ago a little bit. You saw some of our parks go down, but in the last three or so years, we've got some people that are employed here that do an amazing job, and they've kept up on it. So let's keep those going. Thank you.
I think for the most part, as I looked over the fees, and I've sat at a few meetings now, but they've addressed some of the zoning fees and the development fees. I think those are not too heavy. I do believe, though, I don't like the thoughts of seeing Oakley as a zero-state community. And so I'd like to develop as many water resources as we can, use them responsibly. Just leaving your hose on and water when it's raining. I've seen that so many times where I've gone by open field or something, not in Oakley necessarily, but we've got the sprinklers on, it's raining like crazy. It's like, come on. You know, sometimes it's easy to forget. There's some responsible things to do. I spoke with Amy for a little bit today, and talking about some of the financials. Got about 35 years of county experience at the bachelor's degree in accounting, and I've done some general fund accounting, as has Zane, I know. So we've got some money set aside to happen, but I think we need to start looking forward to what's coming down the road. I would like to see a 25-year plan developed, even 50-year plan if we need to. Start zoning out the sewer lines and the water lines, replacing sections at a time, so that we aren't caught in the middle of a crisis and have to get a whole bunch of municipal water funding to replace, sewer and water lines because we're in a crisis. And so I would propose to spend a lot of time reviewing the finances of the town and helping them.
So for this summer, as we know, it was the worst drought we've seen in this town's history, obviously in the state's history. And because of all of you, the citizens, and because of Dallas Hanson, our water operator, and Kendall and Public Works, we made it through the summer without running our tanks dry. So kudos to all of you and to our Public Works staff. That being said, we all know we need more water, and it's in the works, and hopefully we'll be online sooner than later. And as Zane mentioned, we need a capital facilities plan. We need to know what's coming for water and sewer in 5 years, in 10 years. And that's also in the works. Our engineering company is looking at that, but we need to drive that forward. As far as facilities, I think we need to step back sometimes and realize that we should not have the facilities we have for the population we have. We have amazing facilities. And that's because of smart financial planning in the past. It's because of the huge amount of volunteerism we have here. And it's because of hard work. And I think that's important to continue. The facilities that we do have take upkeep, and that takes money. And the fee schedule that I think we have in place now, sorry, not that I think we do have in place now, I think will help us pay for the upkeep of these facilities. And that's kind of been our plan going forward, is they pay for themselves. So I think it's important to look at what we have, and that we haven't raised taxes to have this nice building to be in. We haven't raised taxes to have all the softball fields and soccer fields. And I think that's really important to acknowledge. Thank you.
Okay, question 3 is plate. What course should Oakley pursue regarding any new economic growth or business opportunities? Do you have any comments regarding the proposed village center master planning initiative, which would be located around and south of the city hall?
Yeah, I know that they just rezoned some of this area, basically the main block of the city and then coming south. We're locating on the north side of SR 32. It's rezoned to a village mixed zone where it can take some business and residential developments. I believe that we need to look very wisely at that area. And the town owns some of that, a fair bit of it actually, until we get to the mill race. And then other private people that wants there. But until people decide to sell there's not much we can do about that in the town. I think we can do a few things, and I think that we need to get some minds together, like I was talking with Blake Brazier, a former mayor today, about that, and talking about, doing a little rezoning, maybe doing some development of a road coming down through there to help kind of incentivize people to build businesses in there and possibly housing. I don't want to see it look like a housing project, though. I think we need to wisely and needs to be developed in it with a kind of a whole in mind, so that once it's done, it looks very nice and doesn't kind of detract from the surrounding community.
So I don't know if many of you know, but our largest single income source for running the town right now is sales tax. And adding more economic development and more businesses is only going to help us with that. And that helps us keep our property taxes low. Now, that being said, we're still a small community. We can't necessarily just go in and sell a bunch of property to a business or a developer and let them bring in a bunch of businesses, because we won't necessarily support that. And the worst thing we can do at this point is to have a bunch of empty businesses, a bunch of failed businesses in our city center. That would pretty much, in my opinion, kill our city's future. So we have to be very smart about how we grow our business section. It is the village multi-use area. And the thing that's great about where it's located around the town hall in there is the city owns a lot of that property. So we don't have to fall to any pressure from developers or anything like that. We can be very deliberate, very smart about how we develop that, who we sell to, and really have some experts tell us, what type of business should be able to thrive in this size of town and in this kind of recreational area that we live in. So being very deliberate is very important. I also think with the village multi-use area, if you don't know what that means, it's kind of imagined as business building on the bottom with maybe some apartments on top. That can also be a way that we help with the affordable housing problem that we have seen in the town. So that's kind of my idea, is both things will help in two different ways. Thanks.
I support the idea of having an economic development committee. And I believe the city council is talking about that. And I think it's a great idea. We've got some brilliant minds in our community. And I think if we could get our heads together, We've got a space, and by being very deliberate and thoughtful, like has been mentioned, I think it's important that we diversify our tax base as much as we can, encourage business growth that's going to be successful and fit the community without changing the nature of things. I was involved in the master plan of that city center back in 2008 with Mayor Blake Frazier, and I really like that plan as a good starting point for some discussions. We had some discussions back then, it kind of got mothballed. We've dusted that off recently as a planning commission and are starting to talk more about how we can make some of that stuff happen. It's going to be challenging because the city owns the property. There are great advantages, as have been mentioned. There are also some challenges. We either have to sell it or we have to work with the people that are developing those businesses. That somehow we maintain ownership of it if we want. But we need to have some conversation and be very creative in how we deal with those things. I believe that what we do, well, I can say this. I've been approached by developers already about how they are interested in that city center, and there are people chomping at the bit.
Small businesses is the engine for our city's economy, right? So all promoting small businesses within the city, but I'm not interested in the city being the driving force for commercial growth. Let the market determine what is needed and provided for an avenue and the support to accommodate. If there is demand, then the private market will fulfill that need. Seen from small businesses, especially in Canada as of late, that has not survived due to some other factors. I don't think Oakley should be invested tax money to bring in that growth. At the heart of the debate, what is the type of city we want to be? Are we growing and wanting to be a tournament town? Are we wanting to see our town turn into like Heber? Are we seeking to be a destination spot holding shops, entertainment, dining, hotels? That's something we're interested in. I fear that if we allow this too much, we will turn into Heber, St. George, or New Park City, and we will lose our small town feeling. And that is what fails to most of us to live up here.
I am in favor of opening business to Oakley, mainly so that we can have revenues to offset taxes and to provide for services and the infrastructure that the city needs. But I think that above all else, whatever we do, it needs to be weighed against the master plan, because that is what tells us and directs us that Oakley should be this way, and it's the perfect thing for us to do. My feeling is that we should look at the resources that are existing. And for example, we have the rodeo grounds. And often, like tonight, those grounds are sitting idle, they're not making money. Brandon Bates, who's the voice of the rodeo, basically has proposed that we should have an outdoor concert there. I think that'd be fantastic in the summer. And then an asset idle, why not make it effective? And I think we have other resources that we can look at first before we try to build anything else. To make more effective will be purpose. And I think we also have other opportunities to bring many businesses in, but again, we need to fit in the master plan. So I do like that opportunity. As far as the city center, I've seen the plans, I've looked at the drawings, and I think they did a great job back then. But at the same point, they're 10 years old, or over 10 years old. And I think we need to bring them out, Dan talked about, dust them off, and again, now run it through the master plan to make sure that it still works. And if it does, as Zane alluded to, people are wanting to come here. I think we need to begin the implementation of the city center so that it grows the way we want it to grow, not the way it develops. And I love what Zane brought up about the business and economic community. It's such a very good idea. City council has been discussing it. We haven't moved on it yet, but I think it's such an amazing thing to give us this layer of brilliant business minds who can help us decide whether something fits for Oakley or not. Thanks.
I too am in support of the economic. My major concern is this, however, to have a master plan and decide what we want to do with that, I think we ought to be following our general plan. So I think that's the number one question, is if we want to stay rural and want to keep our community the way it is, and the way we've had it for years, and the way that you people have grown up in it, and we want to keep that, I think there's a lot of thought that has to go into what we want to do around that city center. And quite honestly, you know, I sat here 4 years ago with the same question. And it's probably one of the toughest questions I have. I think a lot of that decision is based on what you guys want, not necessarily what I want. You know, there's been some things thrown around, you know, Brandon Bates' name come up. I'm going to bring it up again. He and I were also talking about it. And, you know, one of the things that I said 4 years ago was, let's support the businesses that we have here now. We just had a diner up there close because we couldn't support them. So that's a concern I have. But as we were talking about mixed use or people coming in and bringing businesses, Brandon threw out an idea. Again, it's just talking to the public and seeing what you guys want. Brandon threw out an idea instead of actually putting like businesses as far as an art studio or something like that. Maybe do the businesses that people are trying to do out of their houses right now. You know, maybe there's an insurance guy here, there's a couple of excavation companies, and let those guys off the that and fill up our city center. There's builders in here that could probably use that as an office. So, I mean, for me, if I'm gonna go that way, that's probably the way I would lead. I've seen that master plan as well. But I think where we need to start is what do we want? And we can't even contact the developer, we can't even do that until we decide what we want. I think it's we as the people, not we as a committee. So that's my thought. Thank you.
Okay, final question begins with Marissa. What is your opinion regarding the 4th of July rodeo and celebration, including all its related facilities? Would you offer any ideas to modify or to improve this important event?
Absolutely. Who doesn't love the rodeo, right? So we have great facilities. We have some opportunities to grow and become better. So in a recent city council meeting, the topic of breastfeeding came up, so everyone can form, right? As the only woman up here, I can give a perfect insight of what to do. And I could benefit the city council on topics like this. My family always looks forward to spending the day at the park for the 4th of July. However, sometimes there's not a lot happening. The kids rodeo, the beautiful celebration program, but what about having small sponsors who can have their booth up, like the Love It Tree Ranch, have them, give them an opportunity to sponsor and then have them have a booth outside, or local artists or local penny sellers or whatever people do up here, have them have an opportunity to be a sponsor and have a booth. And so while kids are out chasing chickens, mom's out shopping, right? Who doesn't like to do that? And then they can have a small little printout in the flyers and the programs and the sponsorships. So it also brings money into us, not a huge sponsorship, so that it's not like Park City Painting, who is the bigger sponsor, or Audrey, who's a huge sponsor, but maybe a small little sponsorship and the kidnapping is having a booth so they can get their names out, and it's local people, and we're helping our fellow city family members. Thank you.
Well, I love the rodeo. It seems to. This was my first year as a member of the council, being able to attend and actually seeing how the community came together, volunteerism. It was totally inspiring. I've never seen anything like that. So it was exciting to see and very motivating for me. During Slack, I had an opportunity just to walk around the arena, helping with wheelchairs and talking to people who were sitting there and watching the roller coaster go. And I just asked one question: how can we make the rodeo better? And everybody responded essentially the same. That is that it is amazing. They love the rodeo. The venue is incredibly beautiful. The people are amazing to see them. But there's no place to eat and no place to sleep. And so that's something that I hear tonight that we're struggling with. It's obviously something that we do need to consider because we're losing a lot of revenue as a result of not providing some services. I think if there is anything that I would change, I think probably should start a little earlier since we added new events this year. And it's not a lot of, to Mrs. point, I noticed a lot of mothers with babies. As it got to be 8:30, 9 o'clock, they were out holding those children, walking back behind the bleachers. And I think we should provide something for them, maybe we don't do that for them, where they can come and either breastfeed or just get their kids out of the noise. But it's an amazing event for us, and I absolutely love it, and I think it's great work.
Can anybody say anything bad about the Oakley Rodeo? That's one of the greatest opportunities and greatest times we have in this town, in my opinion. Volunteerism is awesome. It's what separates us from every other town around us. And honestly, when you guys go around, and I know you've all traveled, people say, hey, where are you from? I'm not from the town of Oakley. Oh, you guys have one of the best rodeos around. I don't know about you guys, but I hear that almost everywhere I go. And, it kind of makes me stand a little bit taller. Because we're all part of that here, and it's one of the greatest things that we have going on. That rodeo has helped support this town and keep our taxes down for quite some time. With this rodeo, to ask if we should change is a weird question to me. If we're not changing that rodeo, we're falling behind. And if we want to stay on top of this thing, we've got to continually change it, bringing new things in. You guys saw some of that this year. There was some controversy over some of the things that happened this year, the rodeo committee and the council put in with food trucks and so on and so forth. But, looking at the financials when they came back in, it was good, it was healthy for our town, it was great. So I think as long as we're always putting that kind of thing in and keeping our rodeo first, before all of that, I think we'll have just fine. One of the things that I would probably propose is on the north side of that arena, and as you guys know, that spent any time over there, those bleachers need to be replaced. They're not the safest things out there. We can actually probably put some more seating in on both sides. I think that would help bring a lot more revenue to our city, and it's one of the greatest events in Utah, in my opinion. There's some other rodeos. Ogden has a good rodeo, but nothing competes, even compares to Oakley Rodeo. I'm happy to have it. I'm happy to live here.
I was born on the 25th of June, and on the 4th of July, I was just about 2 weeks old. My mom took me to the rodeo, and that's gone since. That's how I felt about that rodeo. It's been part of my life, full of my veins. It makes this town what it is in so many ways. So I like what a lot of what everybody said. I like the idea of having this building for mothers if they need it. And while they're in here, why don't we put up a big screen TV so they can watch the rodeo and so things like that. And during the rodeo, I used to go to every night. Now it's kind of you take your family every single night. So this year, one of the things my grandson's been liking baseball. So we came over and played baseball and came over to the vendors while the rodeo was going on, and we had a lot of fun. I think there's things like that that can foster for families that, not everybody loves rodeo, and it's hard to pick some nights. But you know what? We can still come visit our vendors, and you can still come here and enjoy the atmosphere. Buy a corn dog, still get a hamburger. So if somebody wants to get in the gates just to buy a hamburger, I don't have a problem with that. As long as we make sure we come back out and sit down for somebody else to see. No, the rodeo is, I think, it just makes this town, we got to make sure we develop it and continue that tradition. It's the lifeblood of this town. My dad always said the rodeo helps keep our mill levy down to one of the lowest in the state.
So yeah, the rodeo is good. No, I want to take this a little bit different I wouldn't change the rodeo. I'm sure as we go forward, like Steve said, there's some bleachers that need replaced and some facility upgrades in the arena that we need to make as time goes on. But I want to talk about more of a celebration. I would like to add a celebration committee. I think there's a lot of times that, well, I've had several people come up to me, especially this year, and say they're kind of tired of being viewed as the free labor for the town. And I think if we brought some of these celebration things in, and I'm talking maybe some bounce houses for kids, maybe if you don't know, we're going to build some pickleball courts out here this next spring, a pickleball tournament, a softball tournament, things like that. And I'm not talking during the rodeo. Sorry, I should preface that. But we generally have a weekend day that's not the 4th or the Friday that's celebrated as the 4th, federally, whatever. On those days, have some of these things that are more for our locals. The rodeo seems to be, we're trying to bring in money, we're trying to earn money, but have some of these things for the locals to say thank you, to enjoy what the facilities we have here, and to use the other facilities that we have during that time. The horse polls that we had for a few years, that might be a possibility. We used to have a really big barbecue before we moved over here, and things got tight logistically. That would be a good thing to bring back on a day that's not the 4th, I think, and it's more for the locals. And we don't have the competition of running from the parade to the program to the rodeo on that day, so it might be a better possibility. But I think a celebration committee would be a good idea.
I like all of these ideas, and I think we need to have a conversation about that. The fact is, the Oakley Rodeo and 4th of July celebration has put Oakley on the map. And my earliest memories are working alongside my dad and my grandfather and a lot of other community members preparing for the celebration. One of my biggest fears is that we lose this core group of volunteers that have made that happen from year to year to year. And this thing could dry up really, really fast. So I would really like Joe's idea of a committee that can take a lot of the burden off of the city council and make sure that this thing gets the acceleration that it has and maintains that into the future so that it never goes away. That means that a lot of people that move into the community need to get involved. My guess is you come from communities where volunteerism isn't really a thing. People are used to living their own lives and they don't even know how to get involved. Well, maybe the local yokels need to do a better job of bringing you into the fold so that we don't have people feeling like they're the town slaves for the 4th of July celebration. A lot of help makes the load lighter for everybody. And the only way it works is to get more and more people involved so that they catch the spirit of the thing and they want to be part of it. That's how we can keep this thing going. Over the years, the rodeo's changed. It needs to continue to evolve to accommodate the changes. And it's exciting to be a part of it.
Thank you. We'll conclude by each of you offering up to a 2-minute closing statement. We will begin with Joe Fraser.
So we're almost done. I hope you've seen tonight, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but regardless of the 3 of the 6 of us that are elected, I think we'll be in good shape. Zane was my scoutmaster growing up. We're family, we're friends. Regardless of which one of us wins, that's not going to change. So I guess why I say that is this is a tight-knit community. It always has been. And I think we need to continue to really work at making that community tight-knit. And it doesn't just happen. We have to work at it. Some of my best memories, like a couple of these other folks have mentioned, was working for the town. I can remember I was probably 8 years old when we built those red and blue features that are over there. We moved them from the original arena, but I was looking at pictures the other day, and there were pictures of the whole town there holding those things together. And that's what made Oakley great, is as an 8-year-old, I felt like I was helping. Now I was probably causing more problems than I was actually helping, but those work nights, those what turned into play nights were great, and I think those can help us. We come and do a work project, whatever that is, and then we have hamburgers or something. That's what I feel we need to get back to, and it's hard to do in this busy life. So we have to decide as a community what's important to us, and we have to make those priorities. And if community, the sense of community is important, we have to make that a priority. So thank you.
I'd just like to express gratitude in my closing remarks. I'm grateful for the privilege of living in the community at this time, to be able to run to be the next mayor. I'm grateful for your interest in being here to learn a bit more about what we think about things. I'm grateful for the traditions that we have in this community and for all the people that live in the community. I'm grateful for the history that we have and that core group that started this whole thing and have kept it going. I'm grateful for my wife who's supportive of me in anything I choose to do, and I'm especially grateful for that. I believe that whatever happens in this election, we will be in good hands, and I can guarantee you, whoever's elected in any position here, I'll be doing everything I can to make sure that we're successful as a community, and we'll continue to serve, because that's who I am. Thank you.
I recognize the role of a city council person is to represent you, all of you guys out there who's listening, museum, or hearing in this room, or those who aren't here. One of my flaws in life is when I'm 110% in. I will give you all that I have, and I'm sure I'll drive my family crazy, but that's what I do. I'm very dedicated to this town. When I was a teenager, you couldn't pay me $1 million to come back. But look at me now. I'm here trying to give my best with my heart, my whole soul, and everything. I'm very passionate about this town, to keep it what it is and how beautiful it is. And hopefully one day my kids can appreciate what it is. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
I just want to reiterate to thank you again. I love to see you. We have such a beautiful community. It's amazing to be here and have so much to look for. I just want to reiterate one other thing. You know, the reason that we have a city or a town is to provide three things. Number one, it's about providing local services. That's our roads, our water, our sewage. Number two, it's about controlling development and preserving the community. And number three, it's about having local control, so we decide how things happen in our own community, and to make sure that we do them too. And so I think from my perspective, because it's so much about that, I just believe that with my education experience, I can make a big difference in Oakley and help us move forward. I think, as everybody has said, I'm impressed with the folks who are up here, honestly. These are good people who have a great desire to serve, and their hearts are in the right place, and I'm grateful. These are the kind of folks that are coming out to work for the city. Somebody said that government closest to the people governs best. I want you to know that I want to be close. I want to know what your ideas are. I want to know what your opinions are. So on my handout, if you haven't picked one up yet, I have my cell phone number and my email. I would love to hear from you. I would appreciate your vote,
and pray for the leadership.
Every question I've got tonight, I've seen a red flag in the back, so I'm trying to be a little quicker if I can. You know, I've been on the council for 5 years, like I said earlier, and I had no idea what I was getting into when I first got this position. And it's been an eye opener, and we made some mistakes along the way, and I've made some mistakes on the way. But I think as we go forward, and I think it's important that we learn. I've learned from my mistakes. I know more and understand more about the city than I did 5 years ago, and I hope to continue with that. You know, again, 4 years ago when I was up here, I said I wanted to be your voice, and I stick by that. And I think I've done a pretty good job of doing that and listening to you people. We've had some issues that we've had to take care of, but we get to the people that were involved, and we got their input. I will agree that I don't think you can go wrong up here. I think you have some amazing people. You have amazing people in the town, and you just have some people that are willing to put in the time and effort to do it. So I promised I would try and keep this short. I haven't even seen the yellow sign yet. So in closing, my name is Steve Willen, and I would appreciate your vote coming up in this election, and I would love to serve for you folks again. Thank you.
Probably the main reason I decided to run for this council position is because I'm growing really tired of seeing government and not necessarily anything close to us. I'm tired of seeing government in general ignore the people it's supposed to represent. And I thought, well, the government closest to us is supposed to be the one that's most responsible, you know, to us directly. They're also the most responsible, typically. But I feel like we need a town full of people and full of representatives that are willing to stand up for our freedoms that I think are irrevocable. And if we don't stand up for them, there won't be much to stand up for if we don't start. And I know there's not a lot of things we can do as a community to make laws for it, but I think we can make resolutions. I think it stands as a council and as a town to say we believe in freedom. That's what this rodeo, that's what this celebration, that's what the patriotic program is all about. That's where it started. Its roots were in freedom. The freedoms we enjoy as citizens in this United States of America. And I will always use that as a measuring stick for anything I do representing you.
Thank you. Before we end, I just want to point out things that I'm kind of humbled by how well this went. We see in the news constantly how many conflicts and how angry people get in politics. But this is one of the reasons I love this town. I don't know, is Mayor Blake still here? Blake will remember this, because back in the 90s when I think I ran 4 times. We don't always win, okay? But I remember when we do these, like you remember, at the end, people in the audience would always go, well, why can't we just vote for all of them? And that's kind of how you feel after something like this. These are all such good people, and they've worked so hard. And let's give them all a round of applause. Also, we just want to let you know, I was informed the ballots, the mail-in ballot should arrive close to the 15th of this month. Please get right on them, get them mailed in. And also, I heard this from a couple different people. It's difficult to run for any office. And in a city, these people, they cough up a lot of money for their brochures, for their pamphlets. for their signs, and we've heard that a lot of times these signs disappear after they're put up. Please, let's do all we can to, if you see a sign or there's a sign in your yard or something, do your best to keep a watch on it and protect it. We've got to rise above removing these signs. With that, I just want to thank every one of you. I think one of the greatest things that comes out of this is you look at how hard these people volunteer and want to volunteer. But what's great about Oakley is you guys can be part of it. It's not that hard. You can be part of it. You can contact anybody on the council, the mayor, Amy, the staff. They're always looking for help. There's just a million different things people can do. And let's remember what that cornerstone of Oakley is. It's just this volunteer effort. And if we have to relearn it, let's relearn it. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. And then we spent some time talking to the candidates and asking them really hard questions.